London is a city with a population exceeding 12 million, and it suffers greatly from overcrowding. One of the biggest issues facing Londoners is the lack of affordable housing, which has led to some heated debate concerning a solution for the problem. Students leaving university in particular are the ones who are most affected by this, and unsurprisingly more and more are discovering that squatting is a viable option, though it's clear that the general public still harbour ugly misconceptions about the lifestyle squatters have chosen, whether it be by choice or necessity. It all began with the Criminal Law Act of 1977, which effectively created a loophole whereby individuals could temporarily occupy a non-residential building if it was accessed without breaking or entering. It was introduced to tackle the issue of thousands of homeless people in the city, which right now seems on the verge of spiralling out of control, with more and more not being able to afford the extortionate rent prices in London. Bewilderingly, the coalition government led by David Cameron and the Conservative Party have in the last 3 years taken steps to criminalise squatting once more, with such measures seeming absurd when one learns that there are in fact 80,000 empty non-residential buildings in London alone. In light of such events, we decided to go to Camden town, a city within a city and famed for its diversity and unique culture, to discover for ourselves what the squatting communities were doing to survive. After spending 5 months shooting and slowly learning about the people involved, we knew that no effective discussion on the issue of the legality of squatting could take place until this idea that all squatters were violent, drugged up anarchists was demolished. So then, it was only fair to tell the real story straight from the squatters themselves.
Shut up, dickhead!
One of the more disturbing measures being taken by the government to criminalise and deter squatters was out-of-the-blue evictions, coordinated by bailiffs and police, which often turned violent due to their forceful nature.
6 o'clock this morning, we got woken up by our friend screaming, "Resistance, resistance!" We go, "Oh, fuck," you know. We jumped up and got to the door and held them off at first with the, holding the handle up, and they were trying to crowbar the door open. They couldn't do that, and then they just smashed the window and the door, like the glass in the door next to it, and just smashed it and climbed through. So obviously there's nothing we can do. We thought we got 24 hours, but it turned out they were high court, and we didn't realise. So they didn't need to give us any legal notice. They can just turn up when they want.
You'd expect them to knock and say, get your stuff together and get out. That's what was upsetting and disturbing. They didn't take the time to do that. They could have come forcing their way in an hour later because they had all the paperwork to say they could do that. But they didn't give us the opportunity to just. And I don't know. He was talking to me about things that seemed to indicate he knew I was. So I should imagine he knew who other individuals were in the squat. As they always point out to us, there's cameras everywhere. So they knew that there was 2 pregnant women in that space.
Leon Pike, a member of the squatting community in Camden, who also has extensive background experience in activism, offered us his insight on the event.
Squatting is seen, especially by people who own land, as something that's wrong. Maybe not criminally wrong as far as the law goes, but generally people who own land, especially large corporations, especially people who sort of put, the value of property above the value of putting a house over your head.
If we'd had 24 hours, we could have scouted somewhere and maybe found another place to live, but it was literally, because it was bumped like that, we're on the street, and there's just 10 people sitting on the street with all their possessions.
They will generally put your need for housing below their need to regain their empty property back. So it's always good to be aware of that. And you're going to have to realise, I suppose, if you get into squatting, that you are going to have confrontation, that you are going to have instances where you come against people who don't believe what you believe.
In the space of a couple of months, we were in about 5 different squats. It was 4 maybe, yeah, but 4 or 5. So we new, you get used to it. You get on with it. You know, you go, all right, we've got to do this. Well, then we'll do this. We're moving out. All right, we're moving out. Okay. Bailiffs have come around and kicked us out. We're sitting on the street. Okay. What do we do now? Oh, we'll do something. We'll work it out. We always work it out. That's how it is. You know? Nothing's impossible. There's always a solution, and that's how we have to think if we want to live this kind of life.
A big part of the squatting scene in Camden revolves around busking and street performing. Many of the individuals often pursue hobbies, and more often than not, showing their talents to the tourists on the streets of Camden is a key source of income. For Michelangelo and Pietro, two aspiring musicians from Sicily who had only been in the country for a few months, busking was the only way to get money. But new laws forbidding unlicensed acts from performing meant that the two had to go out on the streets illegally and risk being arrested.
We play busking here for heat, sun, and for enjoy London. But many times, but for now, it's law make this illegal, something illegal if you play with the amplifier, and no, the pain it's very high.
The new crackdown laws on busking meant that registered performers not only had to pay a yearly fee, but also had to book a place and time for the performances. These restrictions did not sit well with free spirits like him, who only wanted to write loving messages with chalk on the streets.
I'm writing poetry, words on the floor. It's a form of busking or street performing. But it's also a way of giving service to talk about our potential to create our own experience. See you later then. I really believe that what I'm doing is giving. I really believe I'm giving. But I'm also like practically minded, and I'm sitting in the middle of London, in the middle of this and that mentality.
But he too had found himself in numerous confrontations with the wardens patrolling the area, as had many squatters looking to share their talents for a quick buck.
What's the service that I give? The service is that I remind people of things that they already know. That the most important person, excuse me, the most important thing in your world is you. Wow, how scary is that? It's not the kids. It's not your mum. It's not your husband. It's you. The most important thing in your world is you. So what is it that you're gonna do? Hello, Angel. They hangs. You got a hang? Is that a hang? Oh, is that a hang? Yeah. So you're awake or you're asleep? Wake up, brother. Don't just carry the badges.
Aside from regular confrontations with the law, squatters also endure other hardships in their pursuit for a better life. Skipping food from bins is at times a harsh reality, but it is one that Leon and his crew must do every night in order to survive.
Oh, a mystery tin. There's your mum. You want to take that back, mystery tin? Mystery tin. What? You can take beds. What's inside? Lemon. A bit grapefruit. No, not grapefruit halves. Peach halves.
Beans.
It is something the squatters do with honourable intentions, often citing that good food is thrown away by what has become a wasteful society.
1/3 or 1/4 of what they get.
So basically, out of the food that's produced, 1/3 is wasted. 1/3 of that is wasted in production, like at the farm and at the sorting. 1/3 of that is wasted
in petrol.
In the supermarket. So what we're doing now, and 1/3 is wasted by us, the consumer, who waste on average 1/3 of the food we buy, which is pretty fucking shocking. Man, I'm telling you, the
squatting scene has been around in London since before the Industrial Revolution, and it is one that is integral to the culture of the city. For the people who have willingly chosen this lifestyle, the ups and downs are part of their reality, and it is something they must endure. While the government desperately tries to clamp it down, the squatters continue to evolve and adapt, because they do not see the occupation of empty non-residential buildings as immoral or illegal. Most crews seek dialogue with the owners of the buildings they have occupied, and more often than not are willing to leave peacefully once a mutually benefiting agreement has been found. Towards the end of filming, we learned that this would be the case for Leon and his crew.
This building's been occupied since January this year. We're now in June, and since the beginning we haven't had any agreement with the owners, but they haven't sought to evict us straight away. They now expect their planning permission to be accepted on the 30th of June, and they've initiated court proceedings against us because they have, albeit unofficially, allowed us to stay, and also now are speaking to us about a date we can both agree on to leave. We've agreed to leave on a specific date because, well, they're treating us like human beings. They see that this building is wasted while they don't have the permission to do any work on it, and it's in situations like these where it's always better to make an arrangement with the owners of the building and abide by that arrangement. If you say you're going to leave on a certain date, you should leave.